Now, I've said this once and I'll say it again, but Julia Roberts, she's best known for her role as Pretty Woman from a couple of decades ago, and now she's nothing more than known as Petty Woman, as I like to put it, because she does very petty things based on those that are opposed to her political opinion or opposed to her overall agenda, her overall ideology that she throws out there. Way too much. That really is costing her a lot of roles out there within the film industry, and the latest has a lot to do with another major Hollywood studio as we go into this. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. So yes, we know that Julia Roberts and George Clooney, they are by far the two biggest Hollywood celebrities that have received the biggest backlash, I would say, throughout 2024 and now 2025. For obvious reasons, you know, they got way too involved in politics. That political commercial that they did that really promoted of lying to your spouse about who you voted for was just the most insane thing that you could ever think of, right? It's something that you would actually imagine in a parody video, but it was reality. That's how crazy it truly was. Now, focusing on Julia Roberts, there's been a lot of drama happening right now behind the scenes. She was quiet for a good week and a half or so, give or take, and now she's back at it yet again after she got canceled by yet another Hollywood studio within the film industry, within the Hollywood bubble, that really can't seem to come to, grasp with the reality that nobody wants to hear from Julia Roberts, but some studios, thankfully, are beginning to turn the tide. Now let's jump into this, shall we? Now, interestingly enough, with many actors, actresses, and others, like producers, directors, and writers, engaged in this industry, are continuing to attack those that are against their political views. One monumental development going on now involves more to do with Julia Roberts and her recent attitude after officially getting canceled by yet another major Hollywood studio that is now dropping Roberts after her attitude and getting too involved with politics. Now, it turns out, get this, that Blumhouse Productions recently canceled a major horror project that was going to star Julia Roberts. However, through a combination of Julia demanding for a higher payout, because what else is new? A lot of these actresses are doing that. Demanding a higher payout and her political views, creating major conflicts at the studio. She was recently canceled from this project altogether, a horror project. Now, recently, Julia delivered the following in a fiery response about the current status of the film industry and after what happened with Blumhouse Productions. I think when you are a hard-working woman in this business, you are treated unfairly, especially more so than men, and it's even worse now when you have a political opinion, it seems, in 2025, because you can lose roles just like that at the snap of a finger. It's a very biased type of behavior that we are seeing coming from the studios that run the show in this industry. I have witnessed it myself, unfortunately, and it's just another personal issue that I think is completely out of line, apart from all the other craziness happening right now in this state. The last thing a woman really needs is to deal with being alienated by these studios for having a political opinion or view. Having a political view is very important because this country is going to be a living hell for the next 4 years. I can assure that to everyone who has been with me throughout my entire career as an established actress. These politicians, especially those that act like a king, will never bring a difference to this country at all, and will only bring a difference to those closest to his peers. And I think this is exactly why the studios are growing very scared and ridding those of roles for all the wrong reasons. And again, like I say, I have dealt with this myself already, and it was very frustrating to face, but it's the situation right now as an established actress when you so happen to be a powerful woman who supports diversity, equity, and inclusion. So guys, let me just stop here before I move on about what Julia has to say. Now, again, she's going on about that constant trope of diversity, equity, and inclusion, this and that. She goes on to say about how women are treated unfairly compared to men in the film industry. She also goes on to go on a rant about the fact that she is getting canceled by more studios, that more studios do not want to work with her. And you know what? This is exactly why. They want to save their image. They don't want to have someone like Julia Roberts presenting, or making themselves a part of that studio and being the voice of them. They don't want that anymore. So some studios, like I say, like she said before, are beginning to turn the tide. I mean, she's openly admitting that now, that more studios are beginning to turn the tide. If not, it's happening at a very slow pace, yes, for sure. But you're going to see more studios beginning to do things just like this. Universal did this. Other studios did this with Julia Roberts as well. Columbia Pictures dropped her from a major sci-fi epic film. But what's interesting yet again is that, for one, I don't think anybody would want to watch a horror flick with Julia Roberts. And number two, I would really hope that if Julia had this major role, and she did, in that horror flick, she most likely would be the monster in this case. So, moving onwards, that is now seemingly a bad and offensive thing to support, she says. She's talking about DEI. I mean, do people listen to the words of other people now, and how illogical that sounds? That DEI is somehow a problem in this industry or in any corporation, whether it's in the workplace or in entertainment or art. Like, you have got to be kidding me. And that's what you get with men like this that's running the show in these many different studios that's going to be, of course, supporting that guy in office for a couple of years. I can only hope that people wake the hell up and realize that DEI is the answer to promoting fairness and balance in this business. And to have these studios frightened of this man and canceling those that have built their careers over time, all for being very vocal about your political opinion, is ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous is all I have to say, and it's making me want to leave this country. So to Julia, all I have to say is that maybe you should just leave this country. Maybe it is best that you leave the United States at this point, because we hear a lot of this, right, coming from all these celebrities. I want to leave the country, or I plan to leave the country. Even Oprah said this just recently. Well, then do it already. It seems like it's all talk, and they never actually do that. It's nothing more than a talking point to express their frustration. That's what it's really all about. That's all it really boils down to. So again, I think that hats off to Blumhouse Productions for ridding Julia Roberts and really calling it quits with her. Also, a big thumbs up to Universal and Columbia Pictures for calling it quits with Julia Roberts. Universal was going to have 2 romantic comedies with her in her later years, and that I think would have failed miserably. The Columbia Pictures sci-fi epic film would have also been a box office failure because, let's face it at this point, Julia Roberts has grown to become box office poison after getting way too involved in politics, especially after that commercial. So again, a week and a half of not hearing from Julia Roberts. Here you have it again. She's at it once more, going into, of course, her constant rant about politics, about her getting canceled from studios, about how DEI is the way to go, when in reality it's not. In fact, DEI has created far more consequences than we have ever seen in the past couple of years. I would like to hear what everyone has to say about Julia Roberts and the ongoing drama happening between herself, the many different studios in Hollywood, and more. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.